We're looking at graphing inequalities today on a Cartesian plane. And here's my Cartesian plane, my graph. And this is our equality, or inequality, my bad. X is greater than 2. So what we want to do is to find the x-axis right here and look for where x is 2, which is right here. What we want to do is to draw a line. But the inequality sign will tell us what kind of line we're going to draw. When you see greater than or less than, we're going to use a broken line. If you see greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, use a solid line. So this one says x is greater than 2. So we'll find where x is 2 right here. And we're going to use a broken line. This is what I mean by a broken line. Great. And that would represent x is greater than 2. But what we need to do now is to show where x is greater than 2 is on the graph. So we would shade to the right. So we would shade here. Reason being is, at this point, x is 3 and 3 is greater than 2. At this point, x is 4 and 4 is greater than 2. So we would shade to the right. And on this line, we can write x is greater than 2. Simple, don't it? Alright, now we're going to look at a case where x is less than. Right, so this is where x is less than -4. So we want to look on the x-axis here, and we're looking for that -4. So x is -4 here. And because the inequality is a less than inequality, we're going to be using a broken line. So I'm going to come here where x is equal to that -4. And then I'm going to put in my broken line now. So we need cases where x is less than, smaller than. So on this graph, -5 is less than -4. -6 is less than -4. So where is it that we're going to shade? To the left or to the right? We're going to shade to the left. So we're going to shade on this side. So this region would represent all the x values that are less than -4. Next example, we're looking for x is less than or equal to -1. So we're comparing x and -1. So we're going to look for -1 on our x-axis, and that's right here. Now that the inequality sign has the equal under it, then we're going to have to draw a solid line at -1. So this is a solid line or an unbroken line. Good. So we now need to determine where are the x values less than or equal to -1. -2 is less than -1. So we're going to shade this side to the left. Notice with this example, because the inequality sign has that equal to in it, we use a solid line. And then we can just simply write x is less than or equal to -1 on it. Now let's look at inequalities with y. Remember, this is the y-axis, so now we're going to be looking for the values here. So we want y is greater than 1. So we need to find 1 on the y-axis. It's right here. So because the inequality sign is greater than, we're going to use a broken line. So we're going to find where y is equal to 1, which is right here. And I'm going to set up my broken lines now. With that done, we now need to determine where on the graph y is greater than 1. If I come down here, so notice the values are getting smaller, so it wouldn't be this area. If I look at this one, this is where y is 2. 2 is greater than 1. 3 is greater than 1. So I'm going to shade above the graph, like this. And on this line now, I can write y is greater than 1. Let's look at where y is less than 2. So we need to look on the y-axis, and we're looking for 2. It's right here. So because the inequality sign says less than, we're going to use broken lines at y is 2. So I'm going to be using my broken line right here at 2. And remember, the inequality says that y is supposed to be less than. So if it's less than, I need to pick a point to show that y is less than. So 1 is less than 2. 0 is also less than 2. So I'm shading below the graph. The direction is below the graph. So I'm going to shade below the graph like this. It's easy, don't it? And then I'm going to put y is less than 2 on the line. Just like that. Last one, y is greater than or equal to -4. With the inequality being greater than or equal to, it has the equal to part on it, we're going to use a solid line or an unbroken line. And we're comparing y with -4. So we're going to look on the y-axis for -4, right here. And then we are going to draw that solid line right at -4. Just like this. And we're halfway there. Remember, the inequality says y is greater than. If y is greater than, the direction is usually above. So we're going to shade above. But we can also do point testing. I can pick this point here. The y value is 1. Is 1 greater than -4? Sure. So I'm going to be shading above the line. Great. And then I could put y is greater than or equal to -4. Easy.